welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Hiba, and here on my channel I discuss recent missing person cases. If you're into that type of content, go ahead and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Today I'd like to talk about Felicia Marie Johnson. Felicia is a beautiful 24-year-old woman who has been missing since April 15th. She was last seen in Houston, Texas, but she is from San Diego, California. She had only been in Texas for a few days prior to her disappearance. I believe it was only 72 hours, so 3 days or so. She was staying either at a hotel or a motel. I've seen sources state both, but it was on Main Street in Houston. It's not really clear why she was in Texas. I know that she has some family in the area, and it's possible that she was in town to visit them. Some sources state that she was there celebrating her birthday, so that's also a possibility. And I've also seen other sources state that she was planning to move to Houston, so she was potentially looking for work or checking out the area, basically. It could be a combination of the three. Maybe she was in town to celebrate her birthday, but also wanted to see her relatives and kind of scope out the area because she did want to move there. However, on the night that she was last seen, Felicia went to a topless bar in Houston called CoverGirls. As you can see in these pictures, CoverGirls appears to be more of an upscale nightclub. According to their site, the first floor offers luxurious gentlemen's entertainment, and the second floor is a cutting-edge nightclub. So Felicia was there not as a patron, but because she wanted to apply to work that night to dance, but she was actually turned away. Initially, this was confusing to me, but after doing some research, I think I understand. Apparently, dancers will sometimes go to a club all ready to go, unscheduled, but with the hope of picking up a shift. However, since they aren't scheduled or might not necessarily work there regularly, they can be turned away for any reason. The specific club in question, CoverGirls, has been accused of turning away women of color, particularly Black women. According to someone familiar with this whole system, when going in on an interview, it's just walking into the club and asking if they're hiring, and the manager will say yes or no. Things that could have you turned away: tattoos, coming too late, too many dancers already on the floor, your appearance doesn't fit the club, and the worst possibility is being turned away because of the color of your skin. Yes, they do hire women of color, but they will only allow a few on the floor per shift. I'm not sure if this is every club where you can just walk in and ask to work or ask for an interview, but it was the case that night that Felicia went missing. Felicia went to CoverGirls with the intention of dancing, but was turned away probably because they had enough girls working already. I believe that she had arrived there at around 2 a.m., which is right around the time when the club typically closes, so I'm not sure why she arrived so late, or if she just wanted to speak to management or whatever. I also wonder where she was earlier that night and how she got to CoverGirls. Did she Uber there, or did someone drop her off? After being turned away, it's believed that Felicia ordered an Uber to come pick her up. However, this Uber kept being delayed and was taking a long time to come. Someone must have noticed her waiting and waiting, because an unidentified person offered to give Felicia a ride. As we know, she hasn't been seen or heard from since. After not hearing from her the following day, her family became worried. Her father, Kevin, hired a private investigator almost right away, which isn't something that we usually see happen so quickly. I'm not sure if this is because Houston PD was being uncooperative or unhelpful right from the very start, or if they had told the family that they needed to wait a certain amount of time before they could report her missing, but regardless, the family hired a PI. Thankfully, the PI was able to trace Felicia's cell phone. It was found covered in blood on the side of a road near Bear Creek Park, which is about 4 miles away from the club. This is obviously not a good sign at all. Texas EquiSearch has gotten involved to help search the park and the surrounding area. However, as far as I know, nothing else was found. The rest of Felicia's belongings were found at the hotel or the motel that she had been staying at. There also hasn't been any evidence of life, such as social media usage or any credit card or bank activity. Despite finding her bloody phone, though, Houston PD has still been reluctant to act. According to the family and to community activist Quanell X, when the family tried to give Houston PD the cell phone or provide them more information, Houston PD basically said that they didn't want it. Investigators waited several days before going to the nightclub to even ask for surveillance.
It took 5 days to even come to this club and ask questions and attempt to retrieve the video footage, especially after we had already alerted them that we found a cell phone with blood all over it. We got pictures for you. Come take this cell phone. Maybe like a day. It was like
We went the same day.
Cell phone?
Well,
Yeah, it was that same day. So we found the phone at 1:30 that afternoon. So it was
we've
that
been calling
same
for
like
5
12
days.
like within 12 hours. We took them the phone and they refused it.
And that's the part I want to talk about. When they told law enforcement, HPD, that they knew something bad had happened to her, they took them the phone and said, "Look, we found the phone. Here's the pictures. It's got blood on it. Look at the phone. There's blood on it." They said, "We don't want it." They said, "We don't want it." They still did not take the case as a priority.
Thankfully, I believe they do now have possession of the phone, so hopefully that can provide us with more clues as to what happened, or at least tell us whose blood is on the phone. According to investigators, though, they still don't have any idea who the man that offered to give Felicia a ride is. If you recall, though, he has been referred to as a customer, which makes me wonder if he was seen in the club or if he was somebody that frequented that club. Also, how do we know that this whole situation even happened? Was Felicia texting a friend and mentioned that somebody had offered to give her a ride? Did other people at the club, potentially management, say that this is what happened? It's not really clear, but I find it hard to believe that Felicia would just get into a random stranger's vehicle. Some people believe that she never actually left the club or that she was set up. This should be something that's easy to disprove, considering there's a ton of cameras outside of the club and even inside. But for some reason, management is refusing to cooperate and haven't released the footage. I've even read that Felicia's father, Kevin, tried to go in to speak to management and was basically asked to leave. They've only now somewhat started to cooperate since Houston PD has gotten on board. For some background, this establishment is owned by the Davari brothers, Ali Dave Davari and Hassan George Davari. They own multiple clubs in both Houston and Vegas. Their businesses have afforded them quite the luxurious lifestyle. Ali's Houston home sits on 5 acres of land and has 16 bedrooms and 20 bathrooms. According to this post, property taxes on this property alone are $135,000 a year. But is the money made from these clubs their only source of income? These men have quite a shady reputation. There are many allegations out there against them and their establishments, including allegations of racism and trafficking. In fact, when the family's PI spoke to management told him that they weren't hiring Felicia and that they don't hire black women. This PI is Hispanic but is white passing, and he allegedly recorded this whole conversation.
And I have to be honest, the club has not been cooperative. They just started being cooperative when they heard that I was going to hold a press conference. They would not cooperate with us or the family until we threatened to go public. What they also don't know is when we send in the investigator who's Hispanic, who looks white, they were speaking and he was recording the conversation. And we have them on tape in this club, the management, saying that we were not going to give her a job anyway. We don't hire black girls. We don't let black girls work here. So she already walked into a place that didn't care nothing for her and did not even want her presence to be here. And so I will see why, based on what I heard on that tape, out of their own mouths, that they don't give a damn what happened to that sister.
Like I mentioned, there are also allegations of trafficking. In a press conference held by the family, a woman came forward with her experience working at CoverGirls. I will include that here.
I was trafficked through these chains of nightclubs from the owners of these nightclubs for over a decade, where I was sexually exploited, extorted to be rehired whenever I was fired because I was discriminated on, and put in dangerous positions time after time, day after day, week after week, and not paid for the hours that I was in those clubs as an employer. There's a lot of horrible things that happen in the chain of the CoverGirls organization, AHD Houston Incorporated, and the owners of these clubs. I really hope that they didn't alter any of the surveillance in the amount of time that should have been confiscated by police immediately within the first 48 hours, but it's hard. Felicia, you have a community out there that cares about you. Your skin color should not be the reason why there's lack of support in our community and law enforcement to help find you. You have to be found and we're praying that you're found alive. And to the traffickers that might have enabled, or sex buyers that might have enabled the wrongdoing and foul play behind her, I really hope that you just release her, or give us any hope, any information that can give her the whereabouts to where she is.
Unfortunately, this isn't looking good. Is it possible that Felicia left with somebody who had bad intentions and that this person was potentially connected to the club in some way? Is there a trend of Black girls being turned away from working at the club only to be taken elsewhere? I think it's possible, especially considering the fact that Houston is known as one of the main hubs of trafficking in the States. Some people have gone so far as to say that Houston PD are in on it and that they're paid to keep quiet. But even if the club wasn't involved in any way, it seems like something bad happened to Felicia, or that she's being held against her will. Why else would her phone be bloody and discarded? You'll have to let me know what you think in the comments. Is there more to these clubs, or is this a random occurrence? The FBI is now involved in Felicia's case. Of course, this could be because Houston PD asked for their assistance, or it could be because something bigger is going on, potentially something that crosses state lines. In the last 6 months alone, 5 to 6 Black women who do, quote, sex work, unquote, have been found murdered. As we know, this kind of work can be very dangerous for an array of reasons, but I wonder if there's more to the story. Hopefully we have a better outcome in Felicia's case. Her family is devastated, but is committed and won't give up on finding her and bringing her home. Felicia is 5'4" and weighs 150 pounds. She has long black curly hair and brown eyes. She has a rose and butterfly tattoo on her right shoulder. If you have any information, please call the number in the description below. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to Felicia's story. Don't forget to like and share this video so others can find it as well. And I will see you in my next one.